Hi, Rebecca. How's it going?
It is going well. It has been a very, very busy time.
I could only imagine. So I understand that you are now running right now in the Kansas primaries for the GOP for the state house for Legislative District 59. Is that right?
It is, and it is my district. It is my where I've been for the last 20 years. So it's literally I'm running to represent the people in my community that I see every day.
So you didn't just like move into that area because you saw an easy way into office, huh?
Oh goodness, no! I moved down here. Let's see, I lived a whole 40 minutes away, and then I moved down here 20 years ago when I got married and started having kids.
Okay, great. So what brought you to make this decision?
Well, the last day of our legislative session, my rep, who had been my rep for several terms, for as long as I have been in gun rights advocacy, I've had the same House rep, and he announced, surprising everyone from the well, that he was going to retire. And so none of his constituents knew that he was hanging it up. None of his coworkers knew that he was hanging it up. He just announced it and posted it on social media. And that was that. So when I saw that, because of what I do, I keep myself pretty caught up on the goings on. And when I saw it, I started making phone calls and sending emails saying, okay, who's the guy? Who are we supporting? What's going on? And they said, we don't know. Do you know anybody that's constitutional and that's conservative? And I said, well, if I have your support, then I will go ahead and run. And the Franklin County Republican Committee said, you know what? You've got our support. Let's get you started. And so that from there, I just went to Topeka and signed on the line, and it's been campaign season ever since.
Wow, that's really exciting. So now you and I, we had caught up like just as soon as you announced, and at that point you were running uncontested for the primary, and now you do have an opponent, correct?
Yes, actually, I filed 10 days out from when it was the cutoff because our cutoffs were changed this year for the House. We just redistrict the entire state of Kansas. And so they gave us a little leeway on filing. And so I filed 10 days out, and then the guy that also entered the race actually filed 2 hours before cutoff. So he cut it really close.
Wow. So obviously you and I are chatting because we have shared interests, and that would be of the Second Amendment and all of the advocacy work that goes around that. So why don't you tell me about your gun stuff? Tell me about who you are in the gun world.
Okay. Well, for anybody that doesn't know, I started with daily gun rights advocacy about 10 years ago, right after Sandy Hook happened and the Bloomberg funded Red Shirt Moms kind of came on scene and started saying that they wanted, or that all moms wanted to get rid of guns because, oh, they're scary. There was a group of us that decided that we needed to counter that voice. And so the group 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control was founded. And so I have been working with them for the last 10 years. We jokingly refer to my position as being a spokesmom. So instead of a spokesman, we've got spokesmoms. And so Mary Callison out of Illinois and myself run 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control. And we basically serve as the middleman. Anybody in the nation can contact our group and say, hey, listen, I want to know what the laws are where I live. And we can fix them up with somebody who can explain that. If they want training, we can usually get them around 50 miles from a good verified instructor. because we've been doing it for 10 years, that we have made a lot of network connections in the gun community, and we've been able to help place a lot of people. And then about 3 years ago, I added working with the DC Project as the Kansas state director. And basically what that is it's Women for Gun Rights. And so at least once a year, we try to take one lady from every state and go to DC and actually sit down with our legislators and the 2A committees and really focus on how to ensure that we can keep our rights so that we can protect ourselves and our families and our communities effectively.
Well, indeed, and I do believe some of the DC Project superheroes right now are in DC as we speak, aren't they?
They are. They're up there, and it's fun to get to watch from back here. I mean, I would love to be up there with them, but I will actually get to attend, even though it might still be election season for me. I will get to attend DC with the ladies from the DC Project in September of this year. So it's always good to have a presence and to have a voice in that area, because so often it really gets drowned out. And we serve as a counter visual sitters to be the gun community, because we all know the stereotype that we have heard over the years, and we are busting that myth wide open.
Yeah, I think you ladies are doing a fantastic job. So this is very exciting to get more and more ladies involved in the level of government from the DC Project as well. So this is, to me, I think this is a great thing. Since we're talking about firearms and gun rights and everything like that, now you said you have one other opponent that got their application in 2 hours before the deadline to run in the primary. Now, out of the two of you, I do believe one of you has an NRA rating, right? Do you want to talk to me about that?
Yes. Okay. So I have been able to work in the gun community for such a long time now that obviously I've been able to network with a ton of organizations and individuals, and it's amazing. And when I was filling out the questionnaire for the NRA, I got to write down a lot of the things I have done over the last decade. And even though I don't have a voting record because I have not held political office before, they were able to give me their rating of AQ. And what AQ means is just that they had to go by the answers on my questionnaire. But it is the highest rating that someone who has not held office can receive. And so I was very pleased with that.
Right, and I think it's important to stress that to people that are tuning in, that the Q, the question mark there, is just like you said. There is no verifiable record, but on paper and in practice, you are the Second Amendment, from what I know. So, given all that, what would you say? Here's a question: what is your idea of a quote unquote common sense gun law?
I would say a common sense gun law would be what is already written in the Second Amendment.
Okay.
Because it does not get any more clear than you have the right to own and possess and use in defense of your own life, and it cannot be infringed. And that the government did not grant you that right, and therefore they cannot take it from you. I don't know of anything that's more common sense to that, as we just saw in the active killing event in the mall. The best possible scenario when someone chooses to break laws and end lives is that you are ready and prepared at that moment in that place to be able to defend yourself and others. That was a horrible tragedy, but it could have been so much worse. And that's really the common sense gun laws that we need, is to be prepared to protect yourself whenever and wherever you are, because the criminals are prepared to take your life. And so it doesn't get any more common sense to me than that.
So it's suffice it to say you are pretty much a constitutional purist, and that's what I suspected, what I know about you, and based off of your reputation. So I think that's fantastic. What is the when let's talk about the election. So when do we got to get people to polling places? Is there or early voting in Kansas? Let's get all those detailed out there to people.
All right, early voting actually started on Monday, this last Monday. And so our actual primary is on August 2nd. I'm not a big fan of early voting. I understand all of the reasons why, but as far as I'm concerned, it should be election day, not election month. But I live in a state where we do early voting, and so we are right in the middle of voting for the primary right this minute.
Okay, and if people want to get more information about you, about your position statements, where can they find you? Where's the best place to find Rebecca Schmoe?
Okay, so on Facebook and Instagram, if you want to look up the political candidate page, it is Rebecca Schmoe for Kansas on both of those sites. And then if you want to know more about the gun advocacy that I have done and just the general overall individual liberty advocacy that I have done over the last decade, you can find that at Rebecca Schmoe 1MMAGC.
Perfect. That's great. And there was one other thing that I wanted to get you on as we're wrapping up here, because we're hoping that you do succeed in the primary and then in the subsequent election. But what are your feelings on term limits if you're going to be potentially an elected official?
Actually, as soon as I filled out my candidacy there, I was kind of bombarded with a whole lot of different organizations and PACs that were looking for more information, or they wanted me to sign this or sign that or promote them or whatever. One of the very first things I did was that I signed a pledge to actively seek term limits at the federal level. They have not designed the wording to do that at the state level at this time, but they are really focused on the federal level. It was never intended to be a career, like a lifetime career. With original intent, you had to serve, just like we would serve in the military or something like that. You go and you put in some time of service to your country and your community, and then you would have to return home to be able to take care of your business, to take care of your family, so that they prospered as well. And then you would have to live under the laws that you created. Unfortunately, that has just been butchered. We are so far from that concept now, with people that have been there for longer than my lifetime, that we need to establish term limits in order to get us back to the original intent. That way, when we are sending legislators on our behalf, they are not creating a lifetime of dependency on their constituents. And it is very important to me that we return to what it was designed to be.
Well, I think that's just great. Rebecca, do you have anything else that you'd like to add for those that are listening in or, reading about you and your trek here?
Really, all that I would add in is that we need more of this. We need more people who are invested, whether it is authors who are writing books, whether it is content creators for social media, whether it is advocates or something else in the liberty movement, we need more people to step up and run for these positions. We all sit around and we write about the oh woe is me, and I want to see a change in the world, and I want to see a change in my community, and I don't like the laws. And we sit around and we talk about it all the time. We need to start putting ourselves in the path to be able to effectively change the things that we say we don't like. It's really easy for those of us who are constitutional and especially conservatives to just want to, go along to get along and to just really, I'll mind my business, you mind yours. That only works if the other side will mind their business. And I don't know about anybody else, but it is obvious to me that the other side has not minded their own business for a very long time, and they're not about to start now. We need to start reclaiming our republic by being involved in it. And so I would just encourage anybody out there to find out what it takes to run in your area. Start local. All politics is local. So start local and find out what you need to do to get involved. And it's been a fantastic outpouring of support from the Second Amendment community as a whole, because everybody sees the need for us to start putting our money and our time where our mouth is. And so it's been a fantastic run so far. I look forward to winning August 2nd. But even if I don't, if I have lit a fire under someone else who will step up and get involved, then that in itself really makes me happy. That in itself has done the job that I wanted to do. And so I'm hoping that I go ahead and get elected. But I also hope that other people step up that we can support and that we can get them elected too.
Well, that's just great. We're talking with Rebecca Schmoe, candidate GOP for the primaries in Kansas for the District 59 for their state house. Well, Rebecca, it was really a pleasure to talk to you today. I definitely appreciate your time, and I wish you the best. And that's about all I got for you. If you got anything else for me, let me know.
All right. I think that's good.
All right, Rebecca, you have a great day now. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.